This list was compiled by William Bloom, an ex-State Department employee and a historian. Assassinations done by or facilitated by the U.S. government. Let's see. Let's see how many. First of all, let's see how quickly I can go through this. Secondly, let's see how many of these I can mispronounce. Okay, I'm going to try and mispronounce all of them. But Kim Koo, Korean opposition leader, 1949, 1950, CIA neo-Nazi hit list of more than 200 political figures in West Germany to be put out of the way in the event of a Soviet invasion. And I don't think he's on here, but many believe Olof Palme, the socialist leader of Sweden, was likely killed by what were called left behind units, Operation Gladio, in which the U.S. Funded and armed various far-right, sometimes Nazi, but far-right factions that would then do hits like Olof Palme. 1950s, Chu Enlai, Prime Minister of China. Several attempts on his life. 1950s, 1962, Sukarno, President of Indonesia. Kim Il-sung, Premier of North Korea. Mohammad Mossadegh, Prime Minister of Iran. Claro Recto, Philippines opposition leader. Halal. See, I told you, I'm trying to mispronounce them all, but I think I'm only hitting like 50-50. Nehru, Prime Minister of India. Gamal Abdel Nasser, President of Egypt. Norodom Sihanouk, leader of Cambodia. Abdul Karim Qassem, leader of Iraq. Jose Figueres, president of Costa Rica. Francois Papadoc Duvalier, leader of Haiti. Patrice Lumumba, I already said, Congo. Rafael Trujillo, leader of Dominican Republic. Ngo Diem, president of South Vietnam. Fidel Castro, something like 600 attempts on Fidel Castro, and that's been admitted by the CIA. And somehow Castro was finally assassinated by old age at nearing 100 years old. 1960s, Raul Castro, high official in government of Cuba. That was another attempted. 1965, Francisco Camaño, Dominican Republic opposition leader. Charles de Gaulle, president of France. Che Guevara, Cuban leader. Salvador Allende, president of Chile. Rene Schneider, commander-in-chief of the army in Chile. General Torrijos, leader of Panama. General Manuel Noriega, chief of Panama intelligence. Mobutu Sese Seko, president of Zaire. Michael Manley, finally one I can pronounce, prime minister of Jamaica. Muammar Gaddafi already did. Ayatollah Khomeini. General Ahmed Delimi, Moroccan army commander. Miguel de Escoto, foreign minister of Nicaragua. The 9 commandants of the Sandinista group. Sheikh Mohammed Hussein Fadlallah, Lebanese Shiite leader. 80 people killed in the attempt on his life. Saddam Hussein. Mohammed Farah Adid, prominent clan leader of Somalia. Osama bin Laden, yeah, we know that one. Milosevic, president of Yugoslavia. Hekmatyar, Afghan Islamic leader. Saddam Hussein and his 2 sons. Oh, so the first time Saddam Hussein is listed on this list, it's because it was an attempt on his life. 2003, he was actually executed. And then Muammar Gaddafi's on here again because there was an attempt earlier on Gaddafi. This list actually leaves out many people, like Olof Palme. It also leaves out people that, well, the list was probably put together before the president of Haiti was assassinated. Jovenel Moïse was assassinated. Now, whether the U.S. approved of that is unknown, but we have found connections to, at minimum, the U.S. and U.S. mercenaries. I think it's still arguable as to whether the U.S. government knew he was going to be assassinated, but they also don't have various assassination attempts on that list, like Maduro. There's been attempts against him, like the exploding drone that exploded in front of him while he was giving a speech that was connected back to the U.S. There's been there were attempts on Hugo Chavez when he was leader of Venezuela. There's also some arguments that even though Chavez died of cancer, it very well could be a cancer that was given to him by the U.S. government, which is not impossible. There's easy ways to give people cancer if you have access to them and radioactive materials Or in the case of Jack Ruby, the man who killed Lee Harvey Oswald, was he was speaking his mind more and more on the reality of what he knew. And we know this has been, proven in mainstream outlets as well, that the doctor, the therapist, so-called, that Ruby was seeing while he was in prison was CIA. And then Ruby dies of a fast-acting cancer. And Ruby himself said that it was due to the injections he had been receiving from them. So just because someone dies of cancer doesn't mean it's not an assassination. Slightly slower assassination. Anyway, you all can, and that list that I just read also does not include many of the people that were Black Panthers, that some of them I listed that were assassinated. Fred Hampton, for example, or activists like Medgar Evers, Malcolm X. We've had a lot come out in just recent years about the NYPD's infiltration of Malcolm X's inner circle. In fact, the guy that gave Malcolm X mouth to mouth as he was on the ground, riddled with bullets, was and I guess continued to be afterwards, a NYPD undercover cop. That's how close he was. He was like standing next to Malcolm X as Malcolm X was shot. All this is to say is that the U.S. is the biggest perpetrator of assassinations, of political violence around the world. And here you have our pathetic mainstream media saying just over and over again, political violence is never okay. Political violence is never okay. Now, if you really wanted to be honest, then they could say, hey, we don't believe political violence is okay here in the United States, but we're clearly fine with it overseas. And of course, many in the United States have been assassinated, but not maybe in recent years. These sacks of shit run around with their political violence is not okay because there's been an assassination attempt on Trump. It's complete bullshit. I mean, I didn't even say, and the longer you talk about this topic, the more and more come to mind. But the recent president of Iran was likely assassinated by either the United States or Israel. Raisi, who went down in a helicopter crash, just happened to go down in a helicopter crash within a month of when Israel bombed the Iranian embassy, the consulate, killing several generals, and then Iran responded by shooting 300 missiles and drones at Israel. And then what do you know? Raisi goes down in a helicopter crash a few weeks later. As you continue to cover the list, it just gets longer and longer.